what people try to do is skip the healing and get to the results.
Yes.
And one of the things that you always say is you don't need to heal the man, you need to heal the little boy.
Ooh.
You don't need to heal the woman, you need to heal the little girl. Because most of our trauma happens when we're children, but it plays out in our adulthood when it comes to our decision making. And that's very true for me too.
Mm.
By the age of 12, I had witnessed so much death, had so many experiences that only a grown person should have. I had a son by the time I was 15. So I had been through a lot. And a lot of that was very traumatic for me. And it wasn't until I sat down with myself and realized that what I had gone through, I didn't heal from that.
Mm.
And all of the decisions that I was making was based upon a lot of those traumas that I had went through. And as I began to heal myself, what I began to see was all my decisions started to change.
Mm.
And I always say to people, like, when you become the highest version of you, that is the healed version of you.
Yes.
So, what are some of the things you had to heal from to become the amazing person that you are today?
One of those things was being able to accept. I believe acceptance is key because sometimes we want the answer to the why.
Yeah,
And what if there is no answer?
yeah,
And all of the things that I've gone through, I would ask myself, what if I never have an opportunity to tell these people how I feel? And what if I do? And they say, "Oh, I don't even remember doing that to you.
right.
I don't remember saying this or being here." And you sitting there like, I've held all of this for so long, and these jokers can't even give me an answer.
Yeah,
So, what happens when there is no answer to the why? Typically, what we do is we continue to replay what could have been, and we continue to keep ourselves in that past place.
yeah,
And so, for me, it was a decision. I believe that when you make the decision to be a better person or make that identity switch,
yeah,
you have to decide. Nobody can tell you who you want to become. You have to say, look, these are the situations I keep going through.
yeah,
What is the common denominator in this? It's me,
yeah.
And I remember when I was married, when I got married, I was a size 6 when I got married. Shouldn't have been married. I had no business being married.
Yeah.
But I got depressed. I went through a really horrible bout of depression, and I still in my mind was a size 6 in my head, but I wasn't paying attention that I was buying jeggings. I wasn't even buying jeans no more. My shirts went from medium to extra large, and I wasn't paying attention until one day I was in Walmart and I walked past the mirror and I literally got to see myself. Well, I'm only 5'3" without shoes. Me and I had got up to a size 16.
Yeah,
That you wouldn't even know me.
yeah,
No, you would have walked right on past me.
yeah,
But I had to make a decision, April, what's caused this? Because this is not you.
yeah,
And I was in a not a good marriage. Like I always tell people, you never hear me talking negatively about my ex-husband because I chose him based on where I was.
yeah.
He was a match to who I was at the time,
The unhealed version
the
of you.
unhealed version of me. So I don't have anything negative to say about him because he came into my life because I welcomed him. I always tell people it's not what you attract, is what you entertain.
Yeah,
Because I can have a glass of water, and in this glass of water could be good men, bad men, and different men, toxic masculinity, and all other foolishness that they say now.
yeah,
But what I choose to pull out of there is a reflection of where I am.
yeah,
Doesn't mean that there's not good men in that water, that cup of water. So I never have anything negative to say about that other than, April, if you were a more healed version of you, he would have got a hello and you would have just kept on walking.
yeah,
But my traumas was an attraction,
yeah.
and he mirrored everything.
So it was trauma bonding.
It was trauma bonding. You're right. It was trauma bonding. So can you blame somebody else for you choosing them out of your trauma?
Right. Right. And I think that goes back to my point. The highest version of you is the healed version of you.
Yeah.
And the healed version of you makes very different decisions from the
Yes.
unhealed version of you.
Yes.
And it's all about taking that accountability in your healing journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you've been in the relationship space for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And you've helped both men and women cultivate relationships and marriages. And you got the receipts to prove it.
Oh, yeah, they long and strong.
I mean, I come to your events and I hear people stand up with testimonies. I'm getting married in June. I
Yeah.
got married last year, and it's a beautiful thing to see. But you've been in the game so long, and now you're starting to see all of these people who were in other industries switch to becoming relationship coaches, and you're starting to see on the internet a lot of the narrative around relationships is very negative.
Mhm.
And it sounds crazy because people want to be together. Women are saying they're trying to find good men, and men are saying they're trying to find good women.
Yeah.
How has the landscape of dating changed, or what was it like when you first started in this space versus what is it like today?
Well, to be honest with you, today what it is today is why I quit. It's why I retired and I quit in 2021. The thing is, what men and women want has not changed, and it will never change. It's like I tell folks, which camera do I look at? I'm gonna look at that camera.
Mhm.
I don't make the rules. I didn't say it was fair. It
Yeah,
just is what it is.
yeah.
So nothing has changed as far as what the wants are. What has changed is how people believe they should go about getting it and what they think their value is to the opposite sex.
Okay, gotcha.
That plays a huge part. And it's like, no, that ain't what women value. No, that ain't what men value. But instead of people listening to say, wait a minute, I'm going to study the psychology of how men work. I'm going to study the psychology of how women work. But I got to say this though. Y'all know how we work. The issue that I have, and the ladies, I go hard on the ladies because I understand the power that we have.
Yeah,
Y'all know what to do to get us. It's from me doing this work for so long. And honestly, I really wasn't a dating coach. I had to use that as bait because they weren't gonna come to me by themselves.
yeah,
So I really teach woman is what I teach. Woman and femininity.
yeah,
And that connects them to the type of men that they want. I just use y'all, put a little sugar in the medicine,
yeah.
So people always thought, oh my gosh, she's a dating coach. But anyone that actually have taken my courses or been in my academies, I teach more about them and becoming the woman than I ever teach about a man.
Becoming that highest version of themselves.
Yes, but like I said, I just gotta use the man as the bait to get them in because they don't be coming in by themselves. I'm like, girl, I always say the man is the byproduct.
Yeah,
The type of man most women want, you have to be a different version of yourself to get that kind of guy, and vice versa, to the men, because I was coaching men just as much as I was coaching women.
gotcha,
Same issues, but nobody wanted to make an identity switch because it was easier to blame everybody else.
gotcha.
So for me, seeing what I see now, it's a cesspool, but the desire of what they want hasn't changed.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. It's like you still, girl, if tell the truth, girl, you want some biceps and triceps in your bed, child. You do not want to be out there doing another pandemic looking for toilet paper. You don't want to do that. And if we honest, we don't want to open our own doors. We don't want to take out no garbage. We want somebody that we can vent to. We really want and desire deep connection. We just don't know how to get to it. But the thing is, although we may have evolved in certain areas, the core connection of what we want has not changed.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. So it's my belief that men have this innate divine masculine nature,
Mhm.
and then women have this innate divine feminine nature. And we see this both in biology, psychology, and even in spirituality too.
Yes,
The yin and yang is always present. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
You agree? Okay. So if that's being the case, how do we get to a point where you're now coaching women or have the necessity to coach women to actually be feminine, what it is their divine nature?
Ooh, child. First of all, ladies, thank y'all so much for helping me take care of my family because I never would have thought that I would have had a job teaching women how to get back to their femininity. But here's why. We have to take into account that prior, women didn't have rights. There was a lot of things that we had to suffer with
Yeah, for
at the
sure.
hands of men.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, what happened was we have our grandmothers and great grandmothers and women that came before us that were stuck in a position to where even if they were mistreated, they could not leave, no education, no money, nowhere to go. Women could not even get a credit card, a single woman until the 1960s, and a woman couldn't even get a business loan until 1988.
Gotcha.
So there was so many barriers that we had as women.
Right.
So what happened was the women that came before us, although they what modern men, I hate that term, modern men today call, say we want women to go back to the olden days. What you're not understanding is there was a lot of oppression on women in the older days, and a lot of times women were overly submissive because you got to make sure you got to keep that house, your survival intact.
Yeah.
And then the term, she can't keep a man, that was looked at as derogatory toward a woman because keeping a man was your survival.
Yeah.
So you're looked at as your ability to keep a man, that's where your value came from. So now we go through decades of women fighting for their rights, right? We finally get a certain level of rights, right? But what happened was, the women that came before us pushed us, get educated, get educated, get educated, right? But they did not teach us the woman part. So now we have a lot of women who are, especially in the African American community, Black women that are the most educated and the least married.
Yeah.
It's not because they can't be wives, it's because we weren't given that same push to learn how to be the wife. We were giving the same push to learn how to be worker bees.
Gotcha.
So now the type of men that most women come to me for, those men are okay with you being educated, but they're looking more for the wife qualities. So we're not taught to put the same effort into developing as feminine women as we are to girl, go get the bag and be a boss chick and be a bad bitch girl.
Mhm.
We get that thrown at us. So then when women come to me and say, Miss April, I make $300,000 a year. I have my own this, that, and the third, my own house, my own car, my little dog, little outfits for my little dog, all of that. I can't seem to get a date to save my life. And I'm
I
like,
hear that a lot. Not only at your events, but even at Stefan's events. That is exactly how
mhm.
when the questions come, that's exactly how it's actually put.
Yes. And so I'm like, do y'all want me to do you want me to keep it 100 with you, or do you want me to sugarcoat it? Because I know why that is. As a woman that has dated in the top 10 to 1% of men, especially Black men.
Yeah.
Even though I wouldn't look for no relationship, I was always dating them kind of guys at the
Yeah.
time. I said, do you want the answer? Because I know that man very, very well.
Yeah.
And he
Is he
is,
different from the average man?
yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And if you don't have experience with that guy, you might get your feelings hurt for what you think it will be versus what it actually is.